During the return flight from World Youth Day in Rio de Janeiro, reporter John Allen was one of those who was seated with the press in the Pope's airplane. He wondered if there was one word that he could use to sum up Pope Francis and his papacy. He decided that there was, and that word was mercy. Pope Francis continually speaks of mercy, God's mercy, over and over and over again. But what do we mean by mercy? Well, Jesus was the mercy of God in human flesh during his time on earth. So let's take a look at one of the ways he taught us what mercy is. We all know the story in John's Gospel about the woman caught in adultery. The scribes and the Pharisees dragged this woman in front of Jesus so they could trap him into saying something that would get him into trouble. The law was very clear. The penalty for adultery was to be stoned to death. The woman was obviously guilty, and the demands of justice were clear. So the scribes and the Pharisees asked Jesus, "What do you think?" And they knew that if he said, "Go ahead and stone her," all those people who followed Jesus because he preached compassion and love would no longer believe in him. And if he said, "Let her go," then he would be denying the law of God. We all know Jesus' answer. "Let the one among you who is without sin be the first one to throw a stone at her." And they gradually all walked away. And Jesus was now alone with the woman. And he didn't lecture her on the gravity of adultery. He did not instruct her about the damages that adultery causes. He simply said, "Has no one condemned you? Neither do I. Go on your way, and from now on, don't sin again." Here we see what mercy is. The accusations were true. The woman was guilty. She had committed adultery. She deserved the punishment required by the law. Yet Jesus said, "I do not condemn you either." Jesus forgives her. In a homily on this gospel passage, Pope Francis said, "Jesus forgives, but here there is something that goes beyond forgiveness." Jesus goes beyond the law. He doesn't say adultery is not a sin, but he does not condemn it according to the law. And this is the mystery of mercy. It is the mystery of the mercy of Jesus. And the Pope goes on to say, God's forgiveness removes sin. Mercy is the way in which God forgives sins. Now, as strange as it might sound, we have trouble with this. Not for ourselves, of course, but for others. We have trouble with mercy, perhaps because mercy is for guilty people. And we have within us this strong need to see the guilty punished, especially when we are the ones that are wronged. In fact, we can very easily go beyond punishment and desire vengeance. We want to see those people suffer who have given us pain. We are like Jonas, who was sent by God to the great city of Nineveh to tell the people there that their degraded way of living would bring destruction upon their city. And when they changed their hearts and repented, God relented and forgave them. And Jonas was very upset. What this teaches us is that God's mercy has no limits. God's mercy is the way God heals our wounds, and we're all wounded. God never tires of forgiving, because God's mercy never runs out. Jesus tells us that we too need to forgive without limit. We need to enter into the mystery of the mercy of God. Pope Francis says, "This is the time of mercy." The Church must find mercy for everyone. May God give us the grace to do our part in this search for mercy for every person.